Marcus Vale had never imagined he would return to a life of battle. After 10 long years in the human military, fighting wars that spanned both planets and the vacuum of space, he had left it all behind. The medals in his drawer told stories of courage, loss, and hard-earned victories, but they also reminded him of what he had lost: friends, purpose, and a sense of belonging. Civilian life on Earth had been dull, predictable, and far too quiet for someone who had spent his youth in the chaos of war. That was why, when he heard about the Tournament of Valor, he felt a spark he hadn't experienced in years. The tournament was famous across the Interstellar Federation. Elite warriors from countless worlds came to compete in tests of strategy, endurance, and ingenuity. The grand prize was even stranger: a living companion, chosen not by chance but as part of the Federation's ancient customs. Some whispered that this companion could be an ally, a guide, or even a strategic partner for life. Marcus didn't think much about it. He had fought for medals, honors, and survival. Why not enter one more challenge? It was a chance to prove himself again, to remind the galaxy that humans were not to be underestimated. The arena was unlike anything he had seen. It hovered above a massive city, a combination of alien architecture, floating walkways, and shimmering lights that stretched into the sky. Thousands of spectators filled the stands, their voices merging into a constant roar of excitement. Marcus felt a thrill of adrenaline he hadn't felt since his last battle. The other competitors were formidable. There were Clerians, tall and strong with skin that shimmered like polished metal; Sarathi, whose reflexes were faster than most human eyes could follow; and the enigmatic Authari, known for their ability to manipulate energy fields. Marcus looked at them and felt a brief moment of doubt. Could a human, a mere veteran of old Earth wars, compete against beings evolved for space combat? He shook off the thought. Experience, intuition, and careful observation had always been his advantage. The human body and mind, though not genetically enhanced like many of these competitors, had resilience and unpredictability. That could be enough. The first trial was a test of agility and strategy. The arena shifted constantly, walls moving, floors tilting, and hazards appearing without warning. Competitors had to navigate the maze while capturing 3 floating orbs before their rivals did. Marcus had never seen such a setup in any human training program, but he quickly adapted. He observed his opponents, noting patterns and predicting movements. Where others relied on speed, he relied on timing. Where others used raw power, he used strategy. By the end of the trial, Marcus had captured the final orb and crossed the finish line first. The crowd erupted, some in surprise, others in disbelief. A human, standing among the galaxy's elite, had just proven himself in the first challenge. The second trial tested combat skill. Competitors faced robotic drones that adapted to their fighting style. Marcus knew he could not overpower them with brute force. Instead, he studied the drones' patterns, baited them into predictable moves, and struck with precision. His human intuition allowed him to anticipate changes that even the most advanced algorithms couldn't predict. By the end, he had disabled more drones than any competitor, drawing murmurs of admiration from the alien crowd. During breaks, Marcus explored the arena. That was when he first noticed her. She stood apart from the competitors, quietly observing the trials. Her movements were graceful, her posture perfect, yet there was an intensity in her eyes that made Marcus pause. There was something about her, something not entirely human but not alien in the obvious sense. Her presence commanded attention without demanding it. When the final trial was announced, Marcus felt his heart race. It was a combination of combat, strategy, and endurance. Competitors had to retrieve a crystal from the center of a dangerous zone while avoiding traps, energy barriers, and each other. Many had trained for years, yet the arena had always been designed to challenge even the best. Marcus approached it like he always did. Observation first, action second. He noticed subtle hints in the arena's layout, energy readings, shadow patterns, and the way the terrain responded to movement. He used them to his advantage, slipping past dangers that others stumbled into. He fought only when necessary, conserving energy while maintaining focus. Hours seemed to pass in minutes. Marcus moved like a shadow, calculated yet flexible. He retrieved the crystal with precision and crossed the final checkpoint. The crowd's roar was deafening, but Marcus barely noticed. He looked up, and there she was again, watching. Her eyes met his for a brief moment, and he felt a strange connection, though he could not explain it. When the judges announced the winner, Marcus barely registered it. His name echoed across the arena. He had done it. Against all odds, a human had won. But the true prize came next, and Marcus was unprepared. A ceremony was held immediately. Competitors gathered as a figure stepped forward, a tall, elegant alien official. In a voice that resonated like music yet carried authority, the official declared, "The victor shall receive not only this honor, but a companion chosen to walk beside them, a living testament to valor and wisdom." She approached him with calm dignity, her expression unreadable. The crowd cheered, yet Marcus felt a strange tension. He had never met anyone like her. She spoke no words at first, only offering a formal bow. Marcus extended a hand, unsure if it was appropriate, but she accepted it lightly. "You are impressive," he said. His voice sounded strange to him, too human, too small in such a vast arena. She nodded slightly, her eyes studying him as though measuring his worth. "You have won this honor fairly," she said, her voice melodic but firm. "It is a rare achievement for a human to do so." The concept was alien, almost surreal. Yet standing there, he realized this woman was not just a prize, she was extraordinary. The remainder of the ceremony blurred together. Marcus was escorted out of the arena with Liara by his side. Other competitors gave nods of respect, some in disbelief. A human, one who had faced death countless times on battlefields across the galaxy, now held the admiration of beings far more advanced. As they traveled to their temporary quarters, Marcus tried to make conversation. He asked her about herself, her background, and her thoughts on the tournament. Liara's answers were measured, precise, yet always hinted at knowledge and experience far beyond what Marcus expected. She asked questions, too, about Earth, humans, and Marcus's past. For the first time in years, Marcus felt a sense of excitement he had thought lost. There was mystery here, and with mystery came challenge. He had faced countless enemies in his life, but he sensed that this companion, this prize, would be unlike anything he had known. That night, as Marcus lay in a simple room provided for the winners, he thought about the future. The tournament had been just the beginning. Beyond the arena walls, the galaxy awaited. There would be new challenges, new dangers, and perhaps new alliances. But Marcus Vale, ex-soldier, human among aliens, had proven one thing. Humans were adaptable, resilient, and capable of greatness even in the most unfamiliar worlds. And as he drifted into a restless sleep, he couldn't shake the feeling that Liara, silent and poised, held secrets that could change not only his life but the fate of entire worlds. The medal he had won was not just a reward, it was a gateway. And Marcus, for the first time since leaving the battlefield, felt truly alive. Marcus Vale had expected the journey to Liara's home planet to be long and difficult, but nothing could have prepared him for the sight that greeted him when they arrived. The ship descended through clouds that shimmered in shades of violet and gold, revealing a world unlike any human had ever seen. Cities floated above the ground, tethered to the surface by beams of energy that pulsed like veins. Trees with luminous leaves stretched high into the sky, and rivers glowed softly under the alien sun. Marcus felt his breath catch. Liara stood beside him, calm and poised as ever. She guided him through the customs of her people, speaking in a language he did not understand. A translator implanted in his ear converted her words to English, but he noticed that even in translation, her tone carried authority. "This world is different, Marcus Vale," she said. "You must observe before acting. The rules here are unlike your home." Their first stop was the city's central hub, a place where floating walkways connected towering buildings of metal and glass, their surfaces alive with shifting colors. The citizens moved with purpose, their movements precise, their faces showing intelligence and focus. Many turned to look at Marcus, their expressions curious but respectful. For a human, he stood out sharply, his rugged features and practical armor contrasting with the flowing robes and bioengineered enhancements of the locals. Liara led him through a series of formal introductions. Advisors, council members, and even scientists greeted Marcus politely, though their eyes betrayed surprise. "A human," they seemed to be thinking, "has not only survived the tournament but now walks freely in our city." Marcus smiled politely, aware of the attention but careful not to appear arrogant. He knew humans were often underestimated, and that gave him an advantage he intended to use. Later, in the quiet of her residence, Marcus finally had a chance to speak with Liara in more detail. The house was open and airy, built on a floating platform above the city. Its walls were transparent, giving a full view of the shimmering skyline. Marcus could not help but feel small in comparison, yet there was something about Liara's presence that made him feel balanced, almost grounded. "You have done well in the tournament," Liara said, pouring a liquid into 2 glasses. It shimmered like liquid crystal but smelled faintly sweet. I expected humans to survive but not to excel. You are resourceful, Marcus. Your world, it's incredible but also overwhelming. Follow me. The machinery was advanced, far beyond human technology, yet the principles were similar to some devices he had seen in military labs. He studied the readings, noticing the energy pulses and the timing of the fluctuations. If you reroute the flow here and here, he said, pointing to specific conduits, you can stabilize it temporarily until your engineers can repair the core. The scientists looked at him in awe. You have an instinct that is unusual, Liara said softly as they stepped outside. Humans are often dismissed as fragile, yet you handle situations that many of my people would hesitate to approach. That is precisely why you are remarkable. Your adaptability, your courage, your ability to remain calm under pressure, it is rare, even in the galaxy. Marcus realized that humans had to earn respect here, not assume it. One afternoon, while exploring the city's market district, Marcus noticed subtle signs of tension. Factions within Liara's society seemed wary of his presence. Traders whispered, children pointed, and a group of officials observed him from a distance. Marcus's instincts from his military days kicked in. He did not fear confrontation, but he knew he needed to understand the social dynamics. Liara noticed his attention. You are sensing what many overlook, she said. There are those who doubt the value of a human. Some see you as a threat, others as a curiosity. You must earn trust through action, not words. But here the battlefield was subtle, hidden behind politics and culture. The lessons he had learned in war, strategy, patience, observation, were just as valuable now. Despite the challenges, Marcus also found moments of connection with Liara. She shared stories of her childhood, the history of her people, and her hopes for the future. He found himself admiring her not only for her grace and intelligence, but also for her vision. She was not a prize, as he had once assumed. She was a leader, strong and capable, yet willing to allow him a place by her side. One evening, they attended a formal event in the city's central plaza. Citizens from all walks of life gathered to witness cultural performances and demonstrations of technology. Marcus moved carefully, aware of his presence as a human among many alien species. He was conscious of how different he appeared, yet Liara's subtle guidance made him feel confident. During the event, a minor emergency occurred. A drone carrying delicate equipment malfunctioned and threatened to crash into the crowd. Marcus reacted instinctively, leaping forward and using his body to shield civilians while directing the drone's movement. Liara assisted, guiding energy fields to stabilize the drone. Together, their actions prevented injury and showcased a combination of human instinct and alien technology. After the event, Liara turned to Marcus. Your courage is undeniable. You face the unexpected without hesitation. That is something my people admire, even if they do not always show it openly. He had succeeded in immediate challenges, but the larger picture remained unclear. What role did he truly play in Liara's world? Was he merely a companion, or was there more to his purpose here? As days turned into weeks, Marcus began to adapt to life on Liara's planet. He trained in local techniques, learned to navigate the floating cities, and even gained the respect of some citizens. Yet he could not shake a sense of unease. Liara was distant at times, engaged in matters he did not fully understand. Meetings, strategies, and confidential discussions filled her days, leaving Marcus to wonder about the hidden complexities of her role. One afternoon, while walking through a garden of luminous flora, Marcus finally spoke what had been on his mind. Liara, I need to understand something. You are not just anyone, are you? There's more to you than what I see. He realized that part of the challenge was not merely surviving or adapting. It was understanding the society, its politics, and Liara herself. A human could survive physically anywhere, he thought, but to truly thrive, one needed insight, wisdom, and judgment. That night, as Marcus looked out over the city, he reflected on his journey so far. The Tournament of Valor had been a test, yes, but the true trial had only begun. Liara's world was beautiful, complex, and dangerous in ways he had not yet imagined. And yet he felt ready. Humans had a reputation for resilience, adaptability, and courage, and Marcus intended to prove that reputation was justified. He had not only won a prize, he had gained a purpose. And with Liara by his side, he felt that together they could face whatever challenges awaited, even in a galaxy far stranger than any human had known. Marcus did not yet know the full truth about Liara. He did not know that she was more than a companion or a leader. She was a princess, the heir to a throne fraught with danger and intrigue. But he knew one thing clearly. Whatever awaited, humans had a place among the stars, and he was determined to show that they could stand shoulder to shoulder with the greatest beings in the galaxy. And as he fell into a deep, thoughtful sleep, Marcus Vale felt the spark of adventure once more. The galaxy was wide, strange, and full of challenges, but he was ready. Humans survived, humans adapted, and humans persevered. This was his world now, and he would prove it. Marcus Vale had begun to settle into life on Liara's planet, yet he felt that something important was hidden from him. The city was magnificent, filled with floating structures, glowing gardens, and a people whose intelligence and grace seemed to surpass anything he had known. Marcus was adapting, learning the customs, navigating the floating streets, and earning the cautious respect of some citizens. But there was a tension in the air he could not ignore. It started with small signs. A glance from a council member that lingered too long, whispers that ceased the moment he approached, and doors that closed just as he entered a room. Marcus was perceptive. His years in human military intelligence had trained him to notice patterns, anomalies, and secrets. He had learned to read between the lines, to sense danger before it arrived. Liara seemed aware of his observations. She moved through the city with elegance, her presence commanding attention without raising suspicion. Yet she remained calm whenever Marcus asked questions, never revealing more than necessary. "Patience," she would say. "There are things you will understand in time." One morning, while Liara was engaged in a private council meeting, Marcus took a walk through a restricted area of the city. He had been careful to memorize patterns of guards and automated monitoring systems. His human experience had taught him that curiosity and initiative often led to knowledge others overlooked. He moved quietly, observing the architecture and energy fields that powered the city. At first, he saw nothing unusual. Then he noticed symbols etched into the walls of a private chamber, symbols he did not recognize, but which exuded authority and importance. Marcus's curiosity grew. He found a terminal that seemed to control communications within the building. With careful observation and intuition, he accessed the logs, scanning for anything relevant. What he found startled him. The communications were not public. They were intended for high-ranking officials and referenced Liara's position in ways that made Marcus's mind race. Titles like Heir of the Throne, Crown Princess, and Successor of the Realm appeared repeatedly. Marcus felt a mixture of shock and disbelief. All along, he had assumed that Liara was simply a ceremonial prize, a companion awarded for victory in the tournament. But the evidence suggested she was far more than that. He stepped back, heart-pounding. This revelation changed everything. If Liara was truly the princess, then every interaction, every decision she had made carried weight he had not understood. She had been testing him, observing him, and perhaps judging his worth not just as a soldier but as a potential ally, or even more. Marcus returned to Liara, his mind racing with questions. He waited until they were alone in the garden, the luminous plants glowing softly in the evening light. "Liara," he began, trying to keep his voice steady, I think I understand now. You're not just anyone, you're a princess, aren't you? I entered the tournament not only to observe outsiders, but to find someone capable of understanding my people and earning trust in a way few can. The tournament was never about winning a companion in the sense you imagined. It was about observing character, courage, and intellect. You have proven yourself worthy, Marcus Vale. That is what matters. He had always believed in human ingenuity, in the ability to survive and adapt, but he had never imagined that his skills would earn the trust of royalty from another world. His thoughts raced. This was no longer a simple prize. He had responsibilities, expectations, and challenges far greater than he had ever faced. The days that followed were a mixture of admiration and tension. Marcus was treated with more respect now, yet subtle hints of suspicion remained among some citizens and council members. Some whispered about the human who had won the tournament, questioning why a being from another world had been granted such close access to the princess. Marcus understood their doubts. On Earth, humans were resourceful and determined, but in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, they were often underestimated. He began training alongside Liara's advisors, learning about her people's defense systems, social structure, and technology. His military experience gave him a unique perspective. While alien technology was advanced, it often relied on predictable patterns. Humans, Marcus had learned long ago, were capable of improvisation, creativity, and intuition, qualities that even the most advanced beings could struggle to counter. Liara watched him closely during these sessions. Her expression remained calm, but there were moments when admiration flickered in her eyes. Marcus could sense it, though he did not fully understand it. She was a leader, trained to hide emotion, yet even she seemed affected by his adaptability and courage. One evening, while reviewing city security protocols, an alert sounded. A small breach had occurred in the lower districts, an intruder attempting to access restricted areas. Marcus was ready. He moved swiftly, combining human stealth techniques with the city's advanced monitoring systems. Within minutes, he had tracked and contained the intruder, preventing potential damage. When Liara arrived, she observed his actions quietly. "You act with purpose and precision," she said afterward. "Your instincts, combined with observation, are impressive. Humans often underestimate their own potential, but you have proven otherwise." For so long, humans had been considered primitive by many alien civilizations. Yet here, in a world of breathtaking technology and complex society, he had demonstrated their worth. He realized that the galaxy might judge humans not by physical strength or technology, but by courage, adaptability, and ingenuity. However, the revelation of Liara's true identity also brought danger. Marcus soon discovered that not everyone welcomed a human at her side. Factions within the city sought to undermine her authority, seeing the pairing with a human as a threat to tradition and stability. Whispers of rebellion, political maneuvering, and subtle sabotage became increasingly apparent. Marcus had dealt with enemies in the military, but this was different. This was a battlefield of society, politics, and trust. Liara briefed him one evening. "There are those who would challenge my rule, who see your presence as a weakness. You must understand that your role is not merely that of a companion, but of an ally. Your insight, courage, and perspective are valuable, Marcus. You will need them. You must be vigilant." And he realized that humans, often underestimated for their lack of advanced technology, had strengths in areas that aliens sometimes overlooked: creativity, improvisation, and the ability to inspire loyalty. One night, while walking through the city's central plaza, Marcus noticed a group of figures watching them from the shadows. Their posture was tense, their expressions guarded. He signaled to Liara discreetly. She moved with the grace of a trained leader, acknowledging their presence without confrontation. Marcus recognized the potential danger. These were likely agents testing him, observing how he would respond to unknown threats. He stepped forward calmly, using his human presence to project confidence and control. "You are testing me," he said. "If so, I suggest you reconsider. Humans have a way of acting unpredictably." He had navigated not just the physical challenges of this alien world, but the subtleties of trust, perception, and influence. He realized that being human was not a limitation. It was an advantage when used wisely. As the weeks passed, Marcus and Liara grew closer, not as soldier and prize, but as allies. Their bond was built on mutual respect, shared challenges, and an understanding that both had something to teach the other. Marcus admired her leadership, wisdom, and vision, while Liara respected his courage, intuition, and adaptability. Yet Marcus could not shake a lingering thought. There was more to uncover. Liara had not revealed everything about her world, her role, or the threats they would face together. And Marcus, ever curious and vigilant, knew that uncovering these truths would be essential not only for his survival, but for the stability of her planet. He had entered the tournament of valor as a human soldier seeking purpose. Now he found himself in a galaxy far beyond Earth, standing beside a princess whose world was complex, beautiful, and dangerous. Marcus Vale understood one thing clearly. Humans were capable of extraordinary feats, and he intended to prove it, not for medals or glory, but for trust, respect, and the chance to shape the future of worlds beyond his own. And as he looked at Liara one evening, silhouetted against the glowing skyline, Marcus felt a sense of determination. Whatever lay ahead, political intrigue, hidden threats, or tests of loyalty, he would face it with the skill, courage, and ingenuity that had always defined humans. He would not merely survive in this galaxy, he would thrive. The morning sun cast a pale golden light across the floating city as Marcus Vale stood beside Liara on the balcony of her residence. The city stretched endlessly before them, a marvel of technology and culture, yet the serenity was deceptive. Marcus had learned that beauty often masked danger. He had seen it in battle on countless worlds, and he knew it applied here as well. Liara's expression was calm, but there was tension in her posture. "There have been reports of unusual activity near the eastern sectors," she said, her voice measured but urgent. "Some factions are testing our defenses, probing for weaknesses. I want you to come with me." "Tell me what you need me to do." Marcus noticed subtle changes in behavior. A shopkeeper closing early, a patrol doubling its route, whispers among passers-by. Something was happening, and it was more coordinated than he initially thought. They reached the eastern district, where the city's outer defenses intersected with the natural terrain. Normally quiet, the area now hummed with tension. Marcus saw unusual energy readings and small disturbances in the city's protective shields. His instincts kicked in immediately, trained from years of military operations. "There," he whispered, pointing to a small cluster of shadows moving between the buildings. "They're not just testing, they're preparing for something larger. These are the agents of a rival faction, unwilling to accept my authority. They seek to exploit the presence of a human companion to weaken my claim." A series of drones, camouflaged to appear as part of the city infrastructure, activated and surged toward key energy nodes. Marcus reacted instinctively, his body moving before his mind fully processed the situation. He grabbed a nearby control panel and rerouted a portion of the city's energy shields to intercept the drones, creating barriers and channels that disrupted their formation. Liara moved beside him, her hands guiding energy fields with precise gestures. Together, their actions created a coordinated defense that none of the attacking forces had anticipated. Marcus's understanding of human tactics, improvisation, timing, and unpredictability, blended seamlessly with Liara's command of alien technology. Despite their efforts, more drones appeared, adapting to their defenses. Marcus noticed patterns in their movement, subtle delays in their response systems. He shouted instructions to Liara, who adjusted energy flows accordingly. They worked together like a single unit, human ingenuity meeting alien precision. Marcus leaped across a floating platform, dismantling a drone before it could reach a critical conduit. Sparks flew, illuminating his determined face as he moved with speed and focus. Liara coordinated multiple shields at once, deflecting attacks and protecting civilians who had begun to gather in the streets. After what felt like hours but was only minutes, the initial wave of attackers was neutralized. Marcus breathed heavily, adrenaline coursing through his veins, but he knew the fight was far from over. He scanned the area and noticed signs of further infiltration, hidden entrances and energy signatures that suggested a coordinated strike from within the city itself. Liara observed silently. "This was only a test," she said. "They seek to understand how I defend my people, but we will not be caught off guard again. Then let us show them the strength of our alliance." Humans, she realized, had a unique advantage in thinking outside conventional frameworks. The rival faction, however, was persistent. That night, as the city glowed under twin moons, a second wave of attackers arrived, larger, more organized, and armed with advanced energy weapons designed to bypass conventional shields. Marcus and Liara were ready. As the first drones advanced, Marcus activated a diversion, using portable energy disruptors to mislead them into a narrow corridor. He moved with precision, disabling key units and creating openings for civilians to evacuate safely. Liara's control over energy fields became more aggressive, targeting threats with surgical accuracy. The combination of human unpredictability and alien technology created a defense that left their enemies struggling to adapt. In the midst of the chaos, Marcus noticed a group attempting to breach Liara's personal quarters. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward them, engaging directly in close combat. His human strength, honed from years of training, allowed him to subdue multiple attackers simultaneously, using quick reflexes and adaptive strategy. The aliens underestimated the human ability to improvise, and Marcus exploited that gap to full effect. Liara joined him, reinforcing barriers and neutralizing threats with controlled bursts of energy. Together, they moved seamlessly, protecting each other while maintaining the defense of the city. Citizens watched in awe, realizing that a human and a princess had turned the tide of the battle. After several intense hours, the attackers were defeated. The city's energy nodes were intact, and the infiltrators were captured or neutralized. Marcus leaned against a railing, exhausted but exhilarated. Liara stood beside him, her expression calm yet appreciative. "You acted with courage and clarity," she said. Your presence turned what could have been a disaster into a victory. You have shown that humans are capable of more than even I anticipated. I've done this before, just on a smaller scale. The difference is that here we have technology I've never seen before. Citizens, council members, and even some skeptics began to view Marcus with respect. Humans, once underestimated, were now recognized for their ingenuity and bravery. Marcus felt a sense of pride, not in glory, but in the knowledge that his species could stand alongside the galaxy's most advanced civilizations. Yet the victory also brought new challenges. Liara's rivals would not give up so easily, and Marcus understood that future threats would be more cunning, more subtle, and perhaps more dangerous. He realized that their partnership required constant vigilance, mutual trust, and the ability to anticipate threats before they emerged. Over the following days, Marcus continued training with Liara and her advisors. He shared human strategies, improvisation techniques, and quick decision tactics. Liara, in turn, taught him to use alien technology with precision, blending their strengths into a formidable combination. Together, they prepared for whatever future attacks might come, demonstrating that humans could adapt, learn, and thrive even in the most advanced civilizations. One evening, while surveying the city from a high vantage point, Marcus reflected on the events. He had arrived as a tournament winner, expecting a ceremonial companion. Instead, he had found purpose, partnership, and respect. Humans, often underestimated, had the ability to excel in ways aliens did not anticipate. Liara approached, standing silently beside him. "The challenges will continue," she said softly, "but together we are stronger than any force that opposes us." They were allies, leaders, and a team that combined human ingenuity with alien precision. As night fell, the city remained calm, though Marcus knew this peace was temporary. He also knew that humans had a way of rising to challenges, adapting where others could not, and turning disadvantage into advantage. That knowledge gave him confidence. The battle had proven one thing: humans were not to be underestimated. Marcus Vale, ex-soldier and human among aliens, had not only survived but had reshaped perceptions, earning trust, respect, and a place beside a princess in a galaxy full of dangers. And as he watched the glowing horizon, Marcus felt a determination stronger than any he had known. Whatever threats awaited, whatever intrigue or danger lay ahead, he and Liara would face them together. Humans had a role in this galaxy, and Marcus was determined to show that courage, intelligence, and adaptability could overcome even the most formidable challenges. The weeks following the attack had been tense. Marcus Vale had grown accustomed to life on Liara's planet, but peace was fragile. The rival factions, though defeated in the recent strike, were not gone. They had retreated to plan anew. Marcus understood that leadership was not only about victories in battle, but about perception, influence, and the subtle power of trust. Liara moved with quiet authority through her city, engaging advisors, meeting with citizens, and reinforcing the structures that kept her people safe. Marcus stayed close, assisting whenever he could, not just with strategy, but with guidance drawn from his experience in human military and diplomatic operations. He had come to realize that humans, often underestimated, could navigate challenges that even the most advanced civilizations struggled to handle. One morning, an urgent message arrived from the northern sectors of the city. A covert group had infiltrated a vital energy hub and taken control of critical systems. The potential for catastrophe was high. If the energy nodes were destabilized, large portions of the city could collapse. Marcus felt a surge of adrenaline. This was the ultimate test. Liara briefed him quickly. "This faction seeks to exploit fear to challenge my rule and discredit our partnership. We must act decisively." When they arrived at the hub, the group had fortified themselves with energy weapons and shields. Liara prepared to engage, but Marcus stopped her. "Let me go first. Disrupt them, draw their attention, and give us an opening." Unlike the calculated patterns the aliens expected, he used improvisation, timing, and misdirection. He disabled the first line of defenses with quick maneuvers, using the environment to his advantage. A narrow passage, a flickering energy conduit, a reflective surface, each became a tool. Liara followed, providing support. She channeled energy precisely, neutralizing threats while Marcus advanced. Together, they formed a seamless team, blending human instinct with alien technology. Marcus had learned that the key to survival was adaptation, and he used it fully. The leader of the infiltrators appeared, a tall, imposing figure with a calculated demeanor. Marcus assessed quickly. This was not just a fighter, it was a strategist confident in their superiority. Humans often relied on unpredictability, he thought. That would be their advantage. Marcus engaged directly, using human speed and ingenuity. The infiltrator anticipated force but not clever feints and rapid adjustments. Marcus exploited their overconfidence, drawing them into a vulnerable position. Liara struck from a distance. Her energy strikes precise and lethal, disabling key systems the infiltrators had relied upon. The battle was intense, but Marcus's instincts and adaptability gave them the edge. By the time the infiltrators realized what had happened, the hub was secure. Citizens and council members watching from a distance erupted in cheers. The human who had been underestimated had saved not just the day, but the city. Liara approached Marcus, her expression a mixture of pride and relief. "You acted with courage, clarity, and insight," she said. "Humans are remarkable. You have shown that perception, strategy, and intuition are as powerful as any technology." "I think fast, adapt faster. It's what humans do." The rival factions, recognizing the strength of their alliance, retreated into silence, at least for now. In the days that followed, Marcus and Liara worked to strengthen the city and its governance. Marcus introduced concepts of strategy drawn from human military training, adapted to alien systems. He taught improvisation, risk assessment, and leadership techniques. Liara, in turn, guided him through political negotiations, public ceremonies, and subtle diplomacy. Together, they became more than a princess and her companion. They became a force that combined the best of both worlds. One evening, as the twin moons rose over the city, Liara and Marcus walked through a quiet garden. The glowing plants reflected in their eyes, creating a serene moment after weeks of chaos. "You've changed this city," Liara said softly. "Not just in defense, but in the hearts and minds of the people. Humans are often underestimated, yet you've shown what they are capable of. You've shown me that leadership is more than strength. It's vision, patience, and knowing when to act. Humans can survive anywhere, Liara, but I've learned that we can also thrive when we work with others, when we learn from them. Together, we have shown that humans can rise above expectations, even in the most advanced civilizations." In the weeks that followed, the city celebrated their victory. Citizens came to respect both Liara and Marcus, seeing their partnership as a symbol of hope, unity, and strength. Factions that once doubted them began to acknowledge the value of collaboration, realizing that underestimating humans was a mistake. Marcus often reflected on how far he had come. From a veteran soldier who had fought wars across distant planets, he had entered a tournament seeking purpose. He had won a companion, believing her to be a ceremonial prize. And yet, he had found a partnership that transcended titles and medals, a place where human courage and adaptability were not just acknowledged, but celebrated. Liara, for her part, saw in Marcus a rare quality, a human who could adapt, improvise, and act decisively in moments of uncertainty. She admired his resilience, his ingenuity, and his ability to inspire confidence in others. He was not simply a warrior, he was a partner in leadership, a symbol of the potential of humans across the galaxy. One afternoon, while surveying the city from a high vantage point, Marcus turned to Liara. "We've faced threats, navigated politics, and protected this city, but what comes next? Humans have shown they can rise to extraordinary situations, and we will continue to prove that strength comes from courage, wisdom, and trust." And in Liara's company, he had found purpose, belonging, and partnership. As night fell and the city glowed under the soft light of the moons, Marcus felt a sense of fulfillment he had never known. The medal he had won in the tournament was more than a reward. It was the beginning of a journey that had tested him, taught him, and revealed the true potential of humanity. He had entered a competition expecting glory, but he had gained something far greater: trust, respect, and the knowledge that humans, even in a galaxy of wonders and dangers, could rise to the occasion. Liara stood beside him, her hand brushing his. "You are no longer just a visitor in this world," she said. "You are a part of it, and a symbol of what humans can achieve." Yet he also knew this. As long as humans remained courageous, intelligent, and adaptable, they could face any threat, earn any trust, and shape the destiny of worlds far beyond their own. And with Liara at his side, Marcus Vale, ex-soldier and human among aliens, felt ready to meet the future. They had turned trials into triumph, danger into respect, and a simple tournament victory into a partnership that could endure anything. Humans had proven themselves again, and Marcus knew that this was only the beginning of a story that would span galaxies. Together, they would face challenges, defend their people, and show that courage, ingenuity, and morality were forces no enemy could ignore. And in that moment, Marcus understood fully what the tournament had truly tested. Not strength, not technology, but character, resilience, and the heart of a human willing to rise to any challenge.